How about now? Can you hear us now?
Well, that's going to be an echo. We need to turn the sound off on that.
Yay! Hi, Val. Hi, Lauren. Oh, God. Okay. Simon, say hi. Hi. What do you got there? Nerf gun.
Nerf gun, yeah. It's not a Glock 19.
Welcome. Welcome to our life. Currently have Nerf guns and toys everywhere. Trudy, our dog, is hiding in the other room because of this situation.
Yeah.
So
we're not shooting at the computer here.
Yeah. Welcome to our life.
So well, we just wanted to give everybody an update on kind of where things stood. We know that the governor made an announcement. The governor made an announcement on Friday, and he announced that gyms would be potentially one of the things opening back up in phase one. So we kind of wanted to have a conversation and answer any questions that you guys might have, and kind of let you know where we stand so far with everything. Yeah. So to start out, I guess the first question, or the first thing that everybody wants to know, is probably going to be, when are you going to open? And the real thing with that is that we don't know, and the governor didn't even seem to know, and because it's very dependent on what continues to happen with the spread of the virus in Maryland. What he said that we were looking for is a downward trend, not necessarily on the number of people being diagnosed, but the number of people that are being hospitalized, because there's a lot more people going to be diagnosed in the near future because of all the test kits that the state of Maryland just received. So they're looking for a 14-day downward trend on hospitalizations. So we're going to be keeping our eye on that. But for right now, the safe assumption is that we're at least 14 days out from being able to open, and I'm sure that we'll have more information within that time. So. Allison,
Sorry.
Anything to add?
I was responding to Margaret's text message, helping her try to see this video. No, I mean, I think we just want to clarify a few things and also help you guys to understand what this potentially could look like, and the fact that there is a state that is opening up and kind of what it looks like for them. That's not necessarily to say that's what it's going to look like for us, but it's kind of the first one. So it gives us at least a little bit of an idea of kind of maybe some potentials. All of this is, of course, hypothetical, so we don't fully know just yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the next important thing that we wanted to cover, based on we don't know when we're going to open up yet. But the second thing is, it's probably going to be very different from what we remember the gym to be in the near future. When we are able to open back up, it's not going to be that we can all rush in on a Saturday morning and have 40 people in the gym doing a partner workout, high-fiving and chest bumping, with our shirts off. That's not going to be happening for the.
Wait, but on another note, we did discuss doing this workout with our shirts off to make you feel a little more like as if you were at the gym, because that's how we roll as CrossFitters, but we opted not to. So
because quarantine kitchen and things like that.
So anyway.
So yeah, but we want to prepare people for the fact that it's probably not going to be the exact same in the very beginning. That doesn't mean that the gym isn't going to be worthwhile. It doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to get a good workout in. What it does mean, however, though, is that our number one priority is going to be continuing to keep everyone that's involved safe, our coaching staff, and make sure that we can do not only what's required by us regulation-wise, but also what's required of us as being good people and not encouraging the spread of the virus more after we are allowed to open, because we don't want to put anybody in the community in jeopardy, and we don't want to have to shut down again.
Sorry, time out.
How do you see what?
The comments again.
The live chat.
Told you. I'm not the brightest when it comes to technology. Got it.
So we do have a couple of things that we can kind of go through as far as what to, not necessarily what exactly to expect for Maryland, but to give you an idea of what kind of regulations other states have put in. To let you know, Georgia is the first state to be opening up, and it, whoa, watch the cord, bud. It's kind of been panned by a lot of the experts safe with it. We expect those things or similar regulations to come out when Maryland is actually able to open up. So the kind of things that they're doing is first of all, temperature checks at the door. We do have a wireless no-touch thermometer that we've purchased to make sure that everybody coming into the gym is good to go.
I nabbed one of those a few weeks ago, just in case.
And so in Georgia, the first thing that they're doing is temperature checks at the door, and if anybody is over 100.4 degrees, they're automatically not allowed to come in. There's huge limits to the number of people that it's involved. I'm not going to speculate on what our limits are going to be versus Georgia. We've heard that could be based on the square footage or based on the distance that people are going to be able to be kept from each other. But we do know that social distancing standards are going to still be in place, meaning that we're not going to have more than, we're not going to have so many people that you can't maintain 6 foot distance from everybody all at one time. Obviously, the wiping down of equipment and washing of hands, there's going to be no sharing of equipment, no partner workouts in the beginning as we start to get used to this. No sharing of equipment in any way. One of the things that's really going to be tough is there's probably going to be a lot of limitations on the socialization that we're going to be able to have both before and after classes. There's still going to be a need to not congregate with other people in the near term, even when we do go back to being open again. What's that? I have no idea where your computer is. Yeah. So that's going to be tough because we're not going to be allowed to have the before class and the after class. Like if we have two different class times that butt up against each other, we're gonna limit the class size based on how many people that we can have in the building. So the earlier class is going to have to be out of the building pretty much completely before the next class comes in. So that is likely going to be one of the limitations in the very beginning. In addition to that, they in Georgia at least they said no kids at all in the facility, or at least no childcare, which for us would mean no kids in the kids' room. It would be limited to the no kids anywhere. It would be limited to you coming in to work out, and that's pretty much it in the beginning. And then one thing that happened in Georgia that is likely going to happen here in the beginning is that there are no group classes in any way. That's tough for us. You know, that is our model. That is what we do. We coach you through workouts so that you don't have to come up with the workout. We don't plan on going up against that regulation. We still plan on having a coach available and in the building and everything like that. But to stick with the way the regulation is, we will likely have to kind of alter that slightly. So if that is the regulation for us, it would likely be open gym time, and that open gym time would be 50-minute slots, you know, starting on 5 minutes after the hour. So, you know, if it was a 4 o'clock class, it would now be a 4:05 class, and that would run until 4:55 to give people the chance to get in for the next class. And when I say class at this point, I'm talking about open gym. We would have a workout available, and we would have, you know, space marked off for a number of people along with the warm up. And while the coach wouldn't technically be allowed to lead you through that, we would make alterations to make sure that you weren't uncomfortable in doing anything. There would be a clock that started at some point for the workout. And if you chose to use that clock to do the workout on the board, then that would be completely up to you. But this would not be it's not going to be the exact same as in the beginning is what I'm getting at. So I'm going to check the comments here. Okay.
With that said, and I'm sure that, one of the questions might be running through your head is a little bit of like, well, what does the schedule kind of look like? The short answer to that is we don't know yet. But we could kind of speculate that, yes, the schedule is going to be a little different than what we were used to in terms of like our 1 hour like group classes, obviously. And like Jason said, a little more of like an open gym style with a coach there. Obviously the number of slots we would be offering would be more than the number of classes we previously were offering. And that's because we need to get a certain number of people through the door, right? We don't know, though, what that's going to look like in terms of what time slots are going to have a coach on the floor and what time slots are going to have a coach in the building. And it's treated very much like open gym, like our normal open gym where, there's a coach around, but they're not necessarily coaching you. You have access to the gym to do what you need to do. So that kind of comes down to just our bandwidth in terms of our current coaches, what their availability is, what mine is. And I'm just going to throw this out there. Like it's not realistic for one person, myself, to be on the floor, not running group classes, but on the floor coaching for 8 time slots, 9 time slots. That's, like 9 hours out of the day. Like that, it's just, it's too much and it's not sustainable. So I just want to prep you guys that like, we're not quite sure what it's going to look like. We will have enough time slots for you guys. It's a matter of what time slots are going to have that coach on the floor. So it feels like a group-esque class for you and you have that coach to help you, and which time slots are going to be more kind of that free open gym kind of feel. I don't know, but I want you guys to know like that's something obviously like on our minds and what we're going to be very aware of. So, but I don't want you to think that every time slot is going to have a coach running that time slot per se. It's just with our bandwidth, it's just not necessarily realistic day. If that makes any sense to you guys. If you have questions about that, comment away. Right?
We have one question. Yeah. Give me just a minute, please. You draw a line from the name of the color to the color.
Sorry, he's doing
homework. Yeah.
I don't know where
come over here, Mike.
So the first question is, would a home gym option be available on Sugarwood as there would be fewer slots available at the gym? Yes, of course. We're going to still do home gym options for as long as we need to, and people are not able to make it into the gym as efficiently as possible. We'll do home gym options continuously.
Yeah,
so 100%. With that being said, our goal is there might be fewer time slots, like Allison mentioned before, that are coached, but we're going to try and open the gym as much as possible so that you can get in and use a barbell, even if you can't make it to one of the time slots that are available. Think of it like Wegmans right now. Everybody gets into Wegmans, but there might be a line at the door that is 6 feet separated, and we're not going to make you wait in a line at the door, but that line might be on Tribe for booking classes in advance.
You'll definitely have to pre-register for your time slot and be respectful of other people's times and time slots. And let's not book 3 time slots in a row because you want to spend 3 hours at the gym kind of thing, guys.
Yeah.
Right. So.
In the beginning, until things get a little more regular, that's not going to be an option. And again, we'll know more once the things are released for Maryland. We don't know whether or not we're going to be allowed to have, 6 people in the gym, 10 people at the gym, 15 people in the gym. It's going to completely depend on what the actual black and white is for Maryland that comes out that we have to follow. So, but we want to open it up to your guys' questions. If you're thinking it, somebody else is thinking it. So we'd love it if you ask it so that we can that we can write it down or share it with everybody. I'll ask you a question, Allison, while we're waiting. What have you done to stay on schedule during the quarantine? You're at home and I'm still at work, so we have slightly different things. My life is slightly more scheduled because I still have to go in the office. For those of you who don't know, my everyday 9-to-5 job, or really 8 to 6 job most days, is I run a beer distributor, and so I'm in a warehouse with warehouse delivery, and we have a sales team as well. So that certainly keeps me busy, and I still have a routine and a schedule of somewhere I have to get up and be. What are you doing to stay more on schedule?
It took us a couple weeks to really figure out what works best for Simon and I. But what we found that kind of works, I'm going to say really well. Who knows what really well is right now? But what seems to work best for us, Simon, can you chill with the pen, man? Thank you. So we typically get up. I typically get up right around the time that I normally would if I was going to work. It's right around 6:30 or so, similar time to when Jason kind of starts getting up and everything too. So morning routine, I try to keep similar in terms of I'm not necessarily getting myself ready to go to work, like getting Simon up and getting him dressed, right? Usually it's we do breakfast, we get our workout in. So the morning is spent breakfast, workout, get that out of the way. Simon playing outside. And then we usually come back inside by about 11:30. We eat an early lunch. And then depending on what we have on the agenda for that day, it's kind of then going to work, if you will, right? So Simon might do some, we've been calling it homework, but basically homework. We've got all sorts of kind of activities for him to do. So try and get him to do some activities while I do some work, whether I'm answering emails or doing some programming or whatever it may be. It's really hard for me to get a lot done because Simon doesn't give me big blocks of time. So I take the time that I can get. So we might sit down for, 20, maybe 30 minutes and I get some work done while he's doing something. And then usually if it's nice out, we try and get outside. At that point, it's early afternoon. We might take the dog for a walk. Him playing outside in the backyard, whatever it is. Then usually we come back inside. Our life revolves around food, right? So afternoon snack. Then we usually get some things done around the house. And again, if he lets me, then I sit down and do some more work, whether, again, that's answering emails, touching base with you guys, right? I'm reaching out to people all the time, checking in. Tiff and I have been working on some things. I'm sure you guys saw that we have a challenge we're going to be starting on Monday, a 2-week challenge. It's got all sorts of fun stuff, right? So working on those things in the short spurts of times that I have throughout the day. And then usually that gets us through the afternoon. And then at that point, we're close to kind of making dinner. Our day revolves around breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner. See how this works?
I don't think that I'm going to be able to get unused to having dinner like on the table, like as soon as I get home and work out. That's kind of a nice thing that doesn't normally happen. All right, we do have a couple of questions. So first, do you know if the regulation says we need to wear a mask during the phase 1? So the regulation for Maryland is not out yet. We would expect to see that as an executive order from the governor closer to when phase 1, or actually when phase 1 is going to happen. I believe you got a special request via text message.
Oh, Jesus. Do I want to know what that is?
So we don't know what it's going to look like for Maryland. So all we have to go off of is what other states have done so far. And in Georgia, wearing masks was not a thing when they came out with it. PPE was definitely for other industries that recently opened up, but gyms was not one of them. So we'll have to kind of play a wait and see game on that for Maryland. We do think that it would be very limiting to have to wear a mask while working out. But hopefully we are going to provide that space between you and someone else so that hopefully it's not as much of an issue. Next, Hogan mentioned opening up outdoor gym classes in one of his addresses. Do we have any space where that is potentially an option? So the first thing on that is we're going to wait and see as far as what that actually looks like, as far as whether or not we can open up physical space inside the gym or if we have to go outside. We do have outdoor space that they're going to let us utilize, but we need to talk more with our landlord about exactly what that means. But fortunately, we're an end unit, so we have the grassy area not only to the side of the gym where the windows are, but then we have the street that's available there, and then we have the even larger grassy knoll that is next to it. But that is somewhat uneven, and we would have to see exactly what that looks like. It's probably not somewhere where we'd be able to use barbells and things like that, so it'd get more complicated there. With the shortages on cleaning supplies, does the gym have access to disinfectants and stuff? That's a really good question. And the short answer to that is yes, is that we have always worked through Cintas to have a system that is in the mop closet that you probably don't see a whole lot, that is concentrate disinfectant that goes through our water supply and automatically dilutes to the correct concentration. That's what we keep in the spray bottles. That is the disinfectant, so we'll continue to use that disinfectant for spraying things down. And then fortunately, I know a lot of people who make alcohol. So I have some lines on plenty of time. We're going to hold off on that for just a moment. I have a lot of lines on people who are making, high octane ethanol to be used in hand sanitizer, and then making it into hand sanitizer that I have to buy for work as well. So we'll definitely have plenty of sanitizing equipment. But that's a really good question.
So many of you might not even realize this, but like the utility closet that we have, the system that you're talking about, it is installed and tapped into our kind of like
tapped into a water line.
A water line, and we have like a mop sink and everything in there. But we also have, for those of you that don't know, like we have a giant Zamboni floor cleaner that solution goes into, and we disinfect those mats. Like this is not just a COVID-19 kind of thing. Like that's something that we do regularly at the gym to keep our gym clean and sanitized on a regular basis. So
the floors will probably be done a little bit more often.
Correct.
But,
it'll be on a more often schedule due to all of this. But we have access to all of that, and we will absolutely be doing not just that to the floors, but we can do that on all of the equipment and the rigs and the whole nine. So yeah.
Next question. When should we bring back the equipment we checked out?
Good question.
That's a really good question. I mean, the short answer is
we don't know. We don't know when we don't know when we're opening, and we don't know what it's going to look like when we do open. And if we're extremely limited in terms of what we're going to be able to do at the gym, we don't want to hamper your ability to work out at home any more than it is now. So we're not gonna say day one all of the equipment needs to be back if we can only hold 3 workouts a week outside while it's not raining, kind of thing. We're not going to say bring everything back immediately. So more to come on that once we know what's going on. But our biggest priority in all of this is making sure that you have a way to maintain your fitness uninterrupted. And if that means you bring the equipment back to the gym because we're all coming back to the gym, then that's what we're going to do. If it means you keeping it at home for right now because that's where you're still going to be working out for the majority of the time, that's what we're going to do. But it's all about how the most people are going to be able to work out uninterrupted and stay fit.
It might also be kind of a blend of that. Like it might be a situation where those of you that know you want to utilize whatever time slots and what this looks like, and you know that coming to the gym is what you're going to do on a regular basis as soon as that is possible, and you do have some of our equipment, maybe you guys are the ones that are bringing it back to the gym, and maybe some others are holding on to some of the things that they're borrowing, knowing that maybe they won't be able to come in. So we don't know, but that's something that we can definitely kind of cross that bridge once we get there. But before we get into anything else, though, there was one thing I did want to touch on, that yes, they've been given kind of the green light for some to kind of open, but
I guess where you're going with this is there's gyms in Georgia that we've seen that are making a lot of different decisions. So yes, you're allowed to open. So people are going to extremes on either side is what it comes down to, is that there are people who are saying, well, we don't think that it's safe to open yet, so we're going to stay closed. And they're not opening up at all.
They think that Georgia is being premature, so they're taking it upon themselves to keep their gym closed until they feel that it's a little safer for their members and their family.
Other end of the spectrum is that we have people in Georgia that are saying, screw the regulations. Like if I'm allowed to open up, what's the chance of a inspector or regulator coming into X, Y, and Z CrossFit in wherever Georgia, and
which I think is a very good chance in this situation. If we're in phase 1, I think that there's a very good chance that they will be monitoring.
To be honest with you, more importantly than the regulation and the fear that I have of the government is that these regulations are being put out with the best effort of trying to keep us safe and trying to avoid more spread of the disease. And I personally wouldn't be able to sleep at night if we had a spread of COVID-19 through our gym, and we weren't following the regulations. It would make me feel terrible, and God forbid something happened to one of the members that we care a lot about. That wouldn't be good for us. We wouldn't feel right about that. So when the regulations come out, we're going to follow them to the best of our ability. At the same time, when they say we can open with limited, things, I think that our governor has been very cautious and listened to the experts through the whole thing. And so when they say we can open, we're gonna open, but we're gonna stick with the regulations that exist.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Other questions? Let me check here.
Awesome. I feel like we had a lot of stuff there.
I think that we did too. So we miss you guys. We can't wait to see you again. Fortunately, the next time that we get to see you is in
Tonight.
really 5 hours and 27 minutes.
With the happy hour.
Yeah, 7 o'clock tonight. Hopefully it's still nice outside. We're gonna go outside and have a seltzer water and a beer or some bourbon. It depends on how interesting the rest
Val's
of the
gonna have
day
her
is.
prosecco. Get it,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah,
I want to
so,
see that champagne flute.
so there might be a little fire outside here, the Jahowski residence. You never know where we might get crazy.
Right.
So,
Last question. Sorry. Go ahead, Bill. Why do I feel like this is a loaded question? I'm nervous for what's to come.
you should be nervous.
By the way, Miss Buddy, I see you doing all your runs. It's awesome. I love it.
Bill, I remember when you were very, very, very against running. I just want to throw that out there.
I remember when Bill
Was very against CrossFit.
very against CrossFit, but was still walking in the door, and we got him.
Yeah.
My man.
Now he's like the Kool-Aid man coming through the door for CrossFit.
Love you, Bill.
It's
Good question. Go for it.
We
We talked a lot about what different scenarios, but
the big thing is that I don't want to put my foot in my mouth with it. So the question was, will member who pay full access get a discounted rate during soft opening? And the answer is just we don't know yet because we don't know what it's going to look like. We're not trying to charge anybody for anything that they're not getting. I hope that that's come across clear throughout this whole process. But if you have limited access to things, we're not trying to screw anybody. But I don't want to lock myself into saying one thing and then having it be another based off of information that we don't have. So we don't know what quote unquote soft opening is. We don't know how long soft opening is going to last. We don't know a whole lot of anything. So I guess the best thing that we can say is that is something that we have thought about and are continuing to discuss based on all of the possible scenarios that are coming, but we don't have an answer because we don't know if it's scenario A, scenario B, scenario C. We're just trying to pay attention to what all of the options are. So that when we know which option is happening, we can go with it. But
yeah, I mean we're just not sure yet. And like Jason said, like hopefully you guys have gotten that like we're not trying to profit from this situation, but we are also a business, so we need to make it through the situation, right? So will there be an alteration to what the membership looks like? Will it just be a contribution? Like there's lots of possibilities here, but as we get more information, we'll be able to obviously kind of chat with you guys about it. And you guys know that we're not going to keep you in the dark. Once we have enough information to make decisions about things, you guys are obviously the first people that are going to know. But we're very aware of that, and we don't want to overstep when it comes to membership. We also, at the same time, like love you guys, but we also don't want to undervalue us. So like there's kind of both ends of the spectrum again, because at the end of the day, we're a business. So more to come on that for sure.
with us being a business, the whole thing is we have to be profitable so that we can be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the gym doesn't make money, if we constantly lose money on having ODIN, then it's not going to be there to be the place that you love. It's not going to be there to support any of us. So, I mean, we do have to be profitable. And this time, it's not about being profitable. It's about making it through to the other side. It's about, not completely going through all of our savings. This is part of our
income as well, for us to have a family. So, we're okay. I don't want you to think that that's not the case. We're getting by, and we have rainy day savings for the gym. It's just that we hope that we don't have to bleed through all of them because of something that was completely outside of our control. But we know that there's also other people and other businesses that are significantly worse off than we are. So, we feel for the situation the entire world is going through right now.
The other thing that's been out there, and there's been lots of discussions on the different forums and things like that, but there's potential that they'll allow us to open, and then all of a sudden they see a skyrocket in cases and they close us again. Like, there's potential. This might be a yo-yo for a little while. So again, we don't know really what's to come potentially for the next few months, and
there's potential for another wave in the fall.
Yeah.
I mean, until there's a vaccine, we might not be completely out of the woods.
But it might be it might look very different for potentially the next 6 months to a year.
The world might look very different for 6 months.
Remember, I like to live in our bubble.
Yeah,
so to me, it might look a little different. But the world, okay.
But Odin is part of the world. And the thing that will not look different, though, and I think that this is hugely important, the thing that will stay the same is our support for you and also your support for each other. Whether it's virtual in the Facebook group, or through text messaging the people that you've become really close at the gym with, or through Zoom happy hours, or through Zoom workouts, or however it is, or posting on SugarWOD your scores. The thing that will remain constant through all of this is that we're not only there to support your fitness, but we're there to support your mental well-being and your good decisions that are driving your life to be in a more positive place. So that is going to be there no matter what Odin as a physical place looks like.
Absolutely. And we talk about this all the time, and you guys know this, that like our core values, we are humble, right? But we are healthy, and healthy has so many different parts to that, right? Like, obviously we want you to have some sort of fitness regimen. This is why we're giving you so many different workout options, and we have our Zoom classes. We have the yoga on Sundays, right? Like, we're giving you all of these options, and hopefully you're taking advantage of them, keeping yourself moving. Does it look the same as before? No. And it doesn't look the same for either of us either, right?
We're not supposed to do all of the things in SugarWOD?
So it looks very different. As long as you're doing something is better than nothing, right? So physically do something, but we have the mental aspect of things, right? Mentally, we need to stay sane. Emotionally, we need to be okay, right? Like, so you need to also remember those other aspects of living that healthy life that we as Odinites really want to do. So it's not just physical, right? There's the mental aspect. How am I trying to stay sane? For me, you guys know this, I love structure. I like a routine. So that was really important for Simon and I to figure out what is our day looking like. I cannot just float through life, right? So for us and for my mental sanity, we needed to have a little bit of structure to our day. Does it look like what this looked like before? No, but I feel a lot better, and I'm ready to tackle the day when I know what our structure of a normal day kind of looks like. That has been hugely helpful for me personally now as basically a stay-at-home mom, which I have never been before. I've always been a working mom, right? So that's been really helpful for mental health.
You're working at home as well, so that's...
Yes, but working from home while taking care of a crazy 5-year-old, it's different. It's very different, guys. So
a lot of you know that.
Yeah.
It's
the other part of it is the emotional part, right? So like, it's something that, I mean, we've kind of been chatting on the Facebook group recently. And for those of you who aren't on Facebook, our private group is a great forum for us to kind of chat open and honestly about certain things. But talking about the way that you feel is okay and something that you should do, and having feelings towards all this is okay. Now, letting those feelings completely overtake and overwhelm your life, that's where we need to get you some sort of support, whether that is reaching out to a friend, right? Whether that's shooting me an email, send me a Facebook message, right? I am here, that's part of my job. I am here to work with you guys, right? If you need the emotional support, hello, hi.
And we all have those negative feelings at times.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And that's okay.
The negative feelings are not bad in and of themselves. It's what we put into the negative feelings and whether or not we allow them to pay rent in our brain. If we accept them, acknowledge them that they're there, and then move on from them into what's positive and what drives us forward, then it's okay. But we need to find a way in which we can do that, because it's not always as straightforward as it sounds.
And it's not that every day needs to be a happy-go-lucky day. Like, we both have our days where it's harder than other days, right? Some days we wake up, we're ready to tackle the world, and it's great. And on those days, take full advantage. On other days where you just feel exhausted, you just need a break, and you're just struggling a little bit, like, that's okay too. That's also when, if you have a partner at home, like, you need to actually talk to them and tell them what you need, right? There are some days he comes home from work and I'm like, whoa, I need a moment, right? Like, I might need to go for a walk, or I just might need to just sit quietly in the other room, or whatever it may be. Or maybe it's, please take Simon outside to go play while I quietly make dinner for everyone. That's something that's a good stress relief for me. So, but that's something that is part of my responsibility to communicate that to him, right? So, and he also needs to communicate with me to let me know. I don't know what his day is like at work. Sometimes his days are crazy stressful. And so
I called the other day and it was raining on my way home, and I said, I need to go for a run, because a run is the only way that I can get out of the madness that is people in general. Mm-hmm. And it was, I need to get out of the house, even though it's pouring down rain and somewhat frigid outside. Yeah. Going for a run.
So he came home, put his running shoes on, literally went for a run in the rain while I made dinner. And he came home, and then he was ready to be a part of our evening, right? He needed that, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever, to himself. One, he needs to tell me that, and he did. Two, I also need to let him have that, right? So that's my way of supporting him. He is also communicating that to me. So if you have a partner at home, like, otherwise it's going to boil, right? And then at home is going to be stressful. You can't let home be stressful right now, because home, that's where we are all the time, right? So keep yourself healthy in all realms. You need to move. You need to mentally stay healthy, whatever that looks like for you, right? And emotionally, you need to communicate. So
sleep has been difficult for me sometimes. I will be honest about that, is that I've never not been a good sleeper, but through this, stress and everything else, there have been times where I haven't been able to sleep as well. Find a way to turn off your brain, and on your cell phone is not necessarily the way to do it. Looking at a screen, I tried it, it doesn't work. I'll tell you what has helped me. I'm not getting paid for this, but Headspace is an app that I have really enjoyed, because it allows me to calm my mind and turn things off. It is Headspace, Insight Timer. There's a bunch of different meditation, calm apps out there. But I personally like the guided meditation, because my mind tends to wander. I'm kind of a busy thinker, if you will. But we did have another question come through.
Before you do that, the one that I really like, the Calm app has sleep stories. And I know it sounds so silly, but they have like adult sleep stories. They're stories that you listen to like when you're going to sleep.
Headspace has them too.
And yeah, they're really cool, and you can pick all different ones. I really enjoy those because, again, sometimes falling asleep, like you're saying, like we both, like sometimes our mind races. But ladies, there is one on Calm, and
Is this about to get
Yes.
R-rated?
So there is a story. I don't even know what the story is about, but it is narrated by Matthew McConaughey. I'm just gonna leave it out there. You'll fall asleep peacefully.
Oh, I think that I've heard that one on Headspace as well. I think it might be on both.
I think I've only
So,
lasted like 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know what the story is, but it puts me to sleep every time. There's something about his smooth, calm voice.
I can fall asleep to Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, it's, so,
Now we just need Brad Pitt to like narrate maybe a couple. I don't know. We'll see if maybe we can.
I mean, you're in bed next to me. You can take a peek. It's okay. All right. Katie, can we buy apparel somehow?
Katie, girl, I got you. We are working on it.
We're working on an online store. We are working on I don't know how to call it, a commemorative or like, we'll never forget the home workouts of 2019 t-shirts that we made it through. Or, I mean, let's be honest, it'll be a tank top for at least an option for the ladies, because
we've been doing a lot of push-ups, ladies.
Allison doesn't like sleeves. So,
don't, but I put them on for you guys today.
Yeah.
So we're working on an online store. There's a lot that goes into the back end of it. And so we have been building it for a little while now. This was a great catalyst for us to like kick our ass in gear and like to finish it. So our dining room is currently filled with tons of inventory from the gym, which this week I am finishing getting it into the online store. Then we're going to do kind of a quote unquote soft opening for members only. And then once we get that out to you guys, as long as we can kind of make sure we work out kinks, then we will potentially be opening it up to the public. And then so you guys can buy different ODIN gear. At the moment, the gear that we're going to have is the gear that we had at the gym. We have not printed kind of quote unquote new stuff just yet. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So we will put t-shirts, tank tops. We did do a recent order. I think you ladies saw that we have some crop tops, some shorts, a couple things like that. So we're going to get all of that stuff up first. As soon as it's up and ready to rock and roll, don't you worry, we will let you guys know about it. And then we have been chatting about doing, some sort of limited edition, like remembering this experience when it comes to a t-shirt, tank top, something like that, where, I don't know, I like the idea of throwing around some hashtags of like, not just hashtag Odin Strong, because that's of course a wonderful hashtag, but
we can do hard things.
We can do hard things,
That's
or I mean, that would be funny, but or like a hashtag, better together or stronger together or something. We are throwing out different ideas and things like that. So
if you have ideas, please throw them out to us.
Send them our way.
Maybe we can have multiple options of this. Yeah. So we're working on it.
We're working on it. And I know that some people were also asking about, May obviously is right around the corner. It's just a couple of days away. And at this point, we know that the gym is not going to be open beginning of May. So people have been asking about, can they make another contribution for the month of May? Yes, absolutely. We would love that. If you feel that we are bringing value to you and you would like to make a contribution, since all memberships are currently on hold, the link to do so is already in SugarWOD on each day for basically like the next week or so. So go into SugarWOD. It's the announcement that is directly under the picture. Just click that link. It's the same link as before. Some of you had commented before that you wanted to make sure you were at the right place, because when you click it, it brings you to, it says making a contribution to Frederick Strength and Conditioning. That is our legal business name, so registered with the state and everything. So our doing business as, or our trade name is ODIN CrossFit. That's just something logistically behind the scenes when it comes to like HQ and things that we have to have. So regulations and things. Yeah. So our business name is Frederick Strength and Conditioning LLC. And then our trade name is ODIN CrossFit. So you are in the right place if it says Frederick Strength and Conditioning. So just click that link, and we are very appreciative of anything that you would like to contribute during this time. Much appreciated. So, yeah.
So that's what we got, unless there's any last minute questions. We appreciate everybody taking the time to watch and catching up on this.
Val, I like where your head's at.
Yeah.
She is currently looking into seeing if we have a nighttime story by Brad Pitt. Ladies, cross your fingers.
Yeah, it's Fight Club.
I know what we're watching tonight.
I mean, all right.
All right, guys.
It's going somehow.
Okay, we're done. So we will see you tonight, 7 p.m. for happy hour. We'll continue this conversation then. Have a drink, seltzer, booze, whatever you want. Bring the fam. We'll see everyone later today. If you have more questions, if you think of something later, you guys know, don't hesitate to shoot us an email, send us a message, video chat, whatever you want to do. Touch base.
We miss you.
Love you guys.
See you soon.
See ya. I don't know how to turn this off though. There we go.